welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. This is Feral Focus, and today I'm going to refashion a sweater. I love refashioning. Basically, it's taking something that's already a clothing item and turning it into something different. I'm wearing one of my sweater refashions. I put these sleeves on. I basically chopped off the sleeves and then I chopped off the waist and put this. I love this. I wear this so much. I love to wear black, so it kind of gives me some color, and it's just, I love it. So I'm going to do a new one, and this is what I've chosen. I chose this sweater. It's also a little bit lightweight. It does have a little hole in the back, but I'm just going to sew that up. It has these funky buttons. Those are coming off. Don't need those. They're not part of the fashion look that I'm going for with this. And I'm basically going to do the same thing as this sweater, only with this one, I'm going to do some cutouts, because that's so in right now. I don't know if I'm going to do squares or circles. I haven't figured it out yet. And so I'm going to do my cutouts first, and then I'm going to add my fabric. I like to use scarfy fabric for my little fashion add-on, so I chose this one. It's really light. It's just a polyester. It's nothing special, but I like the colors, and I think it's something different than what I usually have. But first, I'm going to cut it. Basically where I want to cut off my sleeves and cut off my waist. So I tried it on in the mirror, and I just pinned it where I wanted to cut it. So where this pin is, where's the pin? There's the pin. So I pinned this one kind of long, just like this one's kind of long. It's below the waist, and then the fabric's going to go right there. And then I cut off my arms. So I just basically am going to do them together, my arms together, so that they're the same. Done. Let me just say that refashion is not an exact science. It's a creative process. So I don't normally know what the heck I'm going to do until it's kind of happening. So I thought I would film it in case it turned out great. Then I could show you how it happened. There's my new cute little sweater. Looks all cropped. How cute is that? I just love it already. I have to say, this is so soft. So soft. So I'm not going to worry about the buttons right now. I'm going to leave them on for this moment. I'm going to kind of play around with my cutouts, because that's the thing that I don't know if it's going to work. And if the cutouts don't work, then I will trash this sweater that I got at the thrift store and try again. If it does work, I have some sweaters that I like even more, and I will cut them out. Maybe one, maybe two. So I did a little thinking, and I thought, I have a top that I just love the cutouts on. They're not circular at all. They're little squares, and I've worn this in a couple of my videos. You can kind of see like that. And so I'm thinking I might do something similar. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut some little squares, and I'm going to cut them small, and then I'm going to try it on and see if I like it. I might just try one, and when I do refashion, there's a lot of do one little thing, go try it on. Go do one little thing, go try it on. If you don't, you might find yourself putting a whole lot of work into something and finding out you don't like it at all. So I just do a little and try it on. I try it on a lot. So here we go. I'm just going to make my first cut. I'm nervous. And I'm going to go try it on and see what happened. Okay, here it is with the cut. I don't like it. It's too far back. It's in the back there, and it just doesn't look good. So I'm just going to bring it forward a little bit, and then I'm going to cut the other side. Since I'm in all the way on this cut, I may as well match it. At least I'm going to do that. Okay, I made a few cuts. Moment of truth. Is this going to be trash or treasure? I actually really like it, I think. And so what I want to do is I want to sew around these areas with my sewing machine and just see if I can edge them. And I'm probably going to edge them with, well, I might start with black, but I might use this color. It might be kind of interesting to use some green thread just to kind of bring it together. Or I could even cut little strips of this and maybe edge it with this. That would be kind of cool. But right now, I kind of like it. It needs a little trimming, but for the most part, it looks pretty much like the top that I kind of copied. Okay, so let's just see what I can do here. I don't know if you can see this up close, but these are my choices. This is a stretch stitch. It looks just like a zigzag, but it's a stretch stitch so that it can still stretch a little. And this was the 2, this was the 3, this was the 4. 4 is like a basting stitch. It's really a long stitch. That's the one I'm going to use. I liked the way it looked. And I actually liked the green. So I'm going for it. Okay, so I started with the stretch stitch. Stretch stitch. Say that a bunch of times. That's really hard. And I ended up the zigzag, just the straight zigzag looked so much prettier. So I'm going to leave the zigzag that I did, and I'm going to take out all the other stretch stitch, and I'm just going to start over with the zigzag. So this is the best little invention ever. It's called a seam ripper, and it is the way you undo stuff, and I undo lots and lots of stuff. I'm doing a little shortcut. It's such a stretchy fabric. I just want to show you that instead of trying to seam rip each stitch out, just go, you know, an inch or 2 down and just clip one piece, one little tiny piece, and cut it. One little piece of that blue string, and then just grab it and pull it, and it will come right out. And then you won't have to seam rip too much. So I just left the zigzag that I had in there, and I'm just going to finish this off. So there we go. Okay, common problem. I went to refill my bobbin, which ran out, and then my thread started to run out. So I am definitely going to run out of thread, and I just don't want to. So I'm going to switch to this green, which also maybe even is a better match anyways. I don't even know if I should include all of that in this video, but I kind of do want to include it to just show you that it's going to take some patience because things are going to happen, and being prepared. I do have a whole drawer full of thread over there, so I can usually find a color I want, but I'm going to have to undo everything I just did, which is not a whole lot. It's only one out of all of these, so I think I've got extra of this thread, so I'm good to go. So I'm back to undoing again. Okay, let's try this again. It's okay. There's so many missed stitches that I just feel like it looks messy. And I know this is Refashion, but I would like it to look on purpose. And so I feel like rejecting this whole treatment and trying for something different after all that. It's just not great. One idea I had was just a glue gun and turn it under. If I do that, there's no going back. So, not sure what I want to do. I think it might be kind of cute to just hand stitch something thicker, like double thread, and just kind of do some, you know, back and forth. That might be cute. Or it might be kind of cute to just take some of this and put it in there. Maybe I should just try this on. I kind of don't hate it, and I think I'm just going to stick with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's art. Okay, I'm back, and I have finished with my little trim that I've done on all of these little cutouts, and I love the way it turned out. It's not perfect, and there's still a few little scragglies. What's going to happen is this is going to unravel a little bit more as I wear it, and it's just going to end up right to the stitching. I hope. That's my plan. But I'm totally going to wear this. So it's cute as is, but here's what I'm going to still do. I'm going to take off these buttons, maybe find something I like better, and put them in that spot, and I'm going to put this trim on the bottom. So I'm going to start with the trim. So what I'm doing right now is I'm cutting these pieces, and I'm just cutting long strips of 10 inches because this right here from here to here is 8, so that gives me a little allowance for turning under a hem and a seam allowance here, and this one's a little shorter, so I'll just cut it off if maybe I want it longer. I don't know. We'll see. So basically, I've just set a couple of weights down, and I'm measuring on this cutting board 10 inches, and I'm just kind of cutting. It's not perfect, but it's going to be good enough just to have a couple of panels. I've got these really long pieces, and so basically I'm going to figure out now if it's going to fit on my sweater. Basically, I want double this around my sweater so I get a little ruffle. You see how it's got a little ruffle to it? So you kind of want to just double it. So however much it goes around my sweater, I'm going to double that number. That's how much I want this to be. Same thing on the sleeves. That's 45 inches. So I'm going to want 90 probably. So let's see what I got here. 124 minus 90 34 inches too much. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew these together, and then I'm going to hem them with a little cool little machine hem I'll show you how to do. And then I'm just going to do a basting stitch and gather it up and pin it to my sweater and see how it looks. And then I'll just adjust it. So first things first, let's sew these together. There is a pattern on this fabric, so I want the pattern to be the same. See, if I sewed these together right now, one would be going this way and one would be going that way. So look at your pattern and make sure that your seam matches the pattern. So when you open it, it's all going the same direction. That's a hard mistake. My patterns don't match at the seam, but I don't really care since this is kind of an artsy sweater, and but they are going the same direction, and I do care about that, so that's kind of nice. Okay, now I got this super long piece, and I'm going to turn that into my ruffle. But before I ruffle it, I'm going to hem it, just so that's done. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to do a rolled machine hem. There's probably a ton of videos on how to do this. That's probably how I figured it out. Okay, I just finished part 1 to the machine hem, and this is kind of a polyester. I don't really like to iron polyester if I can help it. Sometimes it just melts, so I didn't. But normally I would just iron under a small little fold. So I didn't iron it, I just sewed it. But basically what you want to do is just fold over a small bit. This right here is like 1/2 inch. So less maybe, but this was easy to me, 1/2 inch. And then I sewed as close to this edge as I could get. Pretty much. Missed it a couple places, but basically what's going to happen now is I sewed really close to this edge. Now I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to trim as close to those stitches. I use my little tiny scissors, as close to these stitches as I can get. So now I'm just going to have that. And then I'm just going to fold that over and sew it, and I've got my hem. And it really looks good. So this is a good hem for all kinds of things. I didn't want to film cutting this forever and ever, but so I'm just going to cut a little bit of it so you can kind of see. See, there's my stitch line right there. Okay, so I trimmed all of that. Now I just have this tiny little fold over, and it's all sewn. So now I'm going to fold it one more time. I'm going to stitch that, and my machine rolled hem will be done. And I'm just using a basting stitch because that seems like a simple little thing to do. I'm not stretching it a whole lot as I go, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold it over. See if I can show you. Just fold it over, and I'm going to sew it. Then I'll have a little machine hemmed stitch. Machine stitched hem. Machine stitched hem. Okay, my machine hem is done. Now I'm going to decide if this is the length I want on my sweater. So I'm just going to pin it a little, like right in the front, just a little bit right here. Try it on, look at it, and see, is it too long? I'll make it a little shorter if it's just right. I'm going to sew this puppy right on there. Ready? Well, I like the length. I think that's just right to me, right there. It could be probably a little shorter, but I think... Oops. Never stick pins in your mouth. That's what I want. Right there. That's what I want. The other one was too long. Okay, I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it under, and I'm going to sew it straight to my sweater. I'm loving these cutouts. They're super cute. Okay, so what I've done now is I've done a basting stitch. It's a gathering stitch. It's basically a straight stitch, the longest length that you have on your machine. Mine's a 4, so it's the basting stitch. And it's going to be also my gathering stitch. So if you look at this, I did my basting stitch in the amount that I wanted to shave off of my ruffle. So I'm just going to go ahead and gather it and have that extra on there, and I'll trim it off later. So how you gather is you grab, so you have 2 threads at the end, right there, see them? And you're just going to grab one of them, okay? And you're going to start gently. Some people make 2 gathering stitches, so in case one breaks, you can have the other one to pick up. I'm just going to be really careful, and I'm going to stick with one that was just, hey, I'm living on the edge here. So I'm just going to pull it gently, and you see it gathering up? And then I'm going to gather it up and gather it up until it's all gathered up. Okay, so I've gathered most of this. I'm going to leave this part ungathered. I don't want to gather it up too much because I gathered it up way more gathery than I want it. I want it super loose, like this one. Not very much gathered at all. So I've got it started, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pinning it to my sweater. And I'm going to pin it to the right sides together. Oh, I found another little hole. I'll sew that up later. So right sides together. This is the right side of the front, and this is the right side of my ruffle. I'm going to fold it in right here. You know what? I ought to just go ahead and sew that right now, just so I won't have to worry about it. I'm going to fold it 2 times, just like I did my machine hem. So I'll do that real quick and come right back. Okay, I had to stop because I was about to do something without showing you, and if you're a beginner, I didn't want you to sort of just skip this. So I said I'm just going to fold it over, and then I'm going to attach my little bit of gathered. But if I fold it over, I lose my little thread that I'm going to pull. So I need to loosen it by the amount that I'm going to fold it over and get that thread pulled out so that I can fold it and still have my gathering thread. Am I making sense? So see how this stitch comes all the way to the very edge of this fabric? I'm going to fold it 2 times, so I don't want that stitch there. I'm just going to take it out. Now this is my seam ripper, so it has a cutting right there, but this side's easy, so it's not going to pull it out. So there we go. But be careful. All right, so there we go. I'm going to pull that one out. Okay, so now I have my stitching starts right here. You can see it better on the white side. My stitching starts right here, so I have room to fold this over 2 times. And then I'll have a nice, when it's in the front here, it'll just look better. And I'll have to do the other side the same way, but not until it's figured out where it's going to end. See, I'm making this up right now while you watch, so you can see the process. Okay, so now I have a nice little turned under front, so it's going to be right there. And so I'm going to pin this right sides together to my sweater. I'm just going to decide how gathered I want it, and I don't want it very gathered, just a little. Okay, it's starting to get fun. It's starting to look the way I envisioned it, and I've got my little ruffle sewn on. How awesome is that? This is going to be so pretty. So my ruffle's on, and I'm going to finish off the other side the same way I did the first side. If you'll recall, I just turned it under twice and sewed it. And I'm going to do the same one, this one the same way. Okay, now that I know where the end is. I didn't know where the end was before, so now that I know where the end is, I'm going to fold it under twice, sew it down, and then this ruffle will be pretty much where I want it. And then I'm going to work on my arms. Think I probably have enough here, but I don't know for sure. And after I do my arms, we're going to start finishing the inside the best we can. Okay, so this is what I have left, and I'm just going to fold it in half and see how much it would be if I just use this on each sleeve. Yep, to me, that's going to be plenty for a sleeve. It doesn't have to be super gathered, and if I don't think it's gathered enough, I'll cut another piece. I have more fabric. So I think what I'm going to do is gather this up, and then I'm going to attach it to a sleeve and see how much I have left over. But I'm going to mark my center so I know where it is. So if I go over half, I'll know, hey, I'll be cutting another piece of fabric. All right, I'm going to gather this up, and then I'll show you how I pin it. Okay, so I did my gathering stitch on this, and now what I'm going to do is see how it fits on my sleeve. So I'm going to gather it up a little. Just remember, just find these 2 pieces of thread and pull one of them gently. Right sides together, and I want these seams to match the same spot. So I'm going to start at the seam. All right, here we go. Pinning it on. I'm super excited to say that half of that piece was perfect for the sleeve. It's just going to be just right in my opinion. So I'm going to cut it in half, and that's going to be that. Okay, there's my 2 sleeves. I'm going to sew right sides together. I'm going to make a seam. Okay, I have my 2 sleeves. I'm just going to trim the thread from those seams I just sewed so I don't get them confused with my gathering thread. Because I don't want to cut my gathering thread. Okay, so let's get these sleeves attached. This is the right side, and I want the 2 right sides to be facing each other. So the right side of each facing each other, right sides together. And I want my seams to match. So this is where I'm going to start. My seam's going to be where I'm going to start. So I'm just going to put this right over it like that. Did you see how I did that? That way I have right sides together. And if that makes sense to you, when it's open, it'll look like that. See? Right sides together. And where's my seam? There it is. My seam's going to go together. I'm going to bring this stitching right up to the edge because that's where I want it. And I'm going to pin. So I'm going to finagle that. I'll go fast speed here. Okay, I have my sleeve all pinned, and now it's time to sew it. I'm not going to pin them both. These pins will slip right out if I start messing with this. So I'm going to pin and sew, then I'm going to pin and sew the other side. Okay? So here we go. I got my first sleeve on. Oh, how cute is that? I love it. What do you think? Do we love that? Yep. Okay, let's do the other side. Same thing. That's it. It's done. I don't even know where the inside or the outside is. Alright, these need to be pulled through. It's just hanging on a hanger so I can show it to you. I probably will put some buttons just because I have a lot of buttons. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I know I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this. How much did this cost? Well, the fabric was just some scraps that I had, and this sweater was from a thrift store. It was less than $1. So you too can have some really cool art, fashion wear for very little. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're able to figure it out. I am happy to answer any questions. I'm not an expert sewer. I'm not an expert seamstress. I'm not an expert at fashion. I'm not even an expert at refashion. But I loved what I made, and I'd be happy to tell you how I made it. If you have a question that I didn't explain in this video, just ask me. I'm happy to do that. So I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Please thumbs up this video and stay tuned for more. Come back to see what else I come up with.